Hey guys, welcome back. Patrick here. Well, what do we have in the market today? It looks like we have the beginning of a small short squeeze on these retail-oriented stocks. Lots of green today. That is beautiful to see. And I don't know, it's only been a couple of days now, but it looks like it might actually confirm my theory. You guys know, I haven't really been quiet about it. For a few weeks now, I've mentioned these hedge funds are going to be shorting these stocks, and then when that stops working, they're going to go long on them. Literally inverse what they say on TV. They always talk about the market crashing. They're always talking about the inflation, the bond market, stuff like that, and it is just noise. It doesn't really represent the strength of the economy right now. So it does to a certain degree. If you're a company like BlackRock that has $2 trillion in assets under management, yeah, of course, you have to pay attention to like the bond market. You have to pay attention to the inflation rate, the strength of the dollar. That has like a lot of impact for a company like that. But do you really think that they are focusing on billion-dollar companies or $2 billion companies like Tattooed Chef or Lion Electric? Of course not. Companies like those are focusing on Google, Amazon, Apple. They have $2 trillion in market cap. They don't have time to pay attention to little companies like those. Companies like those are manipulated by smaller hedge funds that have a couple $billion in asset under management and have the firepower to really push the price down. I mean, think about it. If there's only like 1 or 2 million in volume each day, you don't need that much money to affect the share price. So that's what they've been doing. Lion Electric went from $35 to about $15 before the rebound that we just saw. Now we're reaching at a point where they don't really have a lot of room like to go down more. Like, what's going to happen? They're going to push the price to $5 like Lightning eMotors? I don't really think so, right? So a lot of them have reached pretty much their bottom. They've been trying to push them down more, right? They tried to push Tattooed Chef down under $16 multiple times, and it didn't really work. So what happens now? A lot of them are covering, and we are seeing those 10% plus spikes in some of these stocks. So in this video, let's briefly look at some of these stocks that are most likely to keep going up and are doing really well in this environment, like the ones that have a very high short position, the ones that I like, and the ones that I feel are still very vulnerable. I mean, just because it has a high short position and there's a small squeeze on it doesn't mean that you want to invest a lot of money in it. Thinking of Clover Health, the company sucked before, it still sucks now, no matter if there's a short squeeze on it. Like, don't invest in memes, it's not a good strategy long term. Alright, so let's start. Please like and subscribe, and of course get your $50 free from Sofi. Sofi is in a small squeeze right now, so why not double down, make money with the squeeze and with the $50 free. Alright guys, let's start by looking at something very significant in my opinion, and that is the de-SPACed SPACs. I have 33 on this spreadsheet that I'm covering, right? 27 are up, 6 are down, for an average of 4.04%. This is massive, right? This is a blowout. And I mean, you can see it with the numbers. Look at QuantumScape, up 10%. This is a company that has been decimated by shorts in the past few months. Tattooed Chef, up 10%. XL Fleet, company that I still don't like, up 10%. But look at Lordstown, 20% today, when it was also up 15% yesterday. That is huge, right? Especially when you compare it with the NASDAQ, which is actually down today by 0.5 percentage point, including same for the Dow Jones, also down a little less than 1%. So that's what I was talking about yesterday. When you have like an asset class, the SPACs and the de-SPACed SPACs, that are all green and up by 4% while the market is down, well, it means that money is outflowing from one part of the market and into this asset class. That's what makes it significant. And now let's look at the short percentages. Alright, so here's a list of the most shorted stocks in the stock market. So this list is a little delayed. The data is as of April 30th. I don't have access to the Bloomberg terminal, so I had to ask a friend to send me the information on IPOE Sofi and also on Tattooed Chef. So I don't have access to the latest data on all of these companies. If you guys have access to the Bloomberg terminal, you can look and see like what was the difference between, let's say, the end of April versus now, and you're going to see if the short interest has dropped or not, as I think it has. All right, so let's cover a couple of them just to give us an idea. And if you guys don't have a Bloomberg terminal, you can still use this list. list from Market Watch, right? Even if it's from April 30th, you're going to get a pretty good idea of what's happening in the market. So you're going to recognize a lot of names on this list, both SPACs that I talk about on my channel, but also a lot of the meme stocks that they talk about on Wall Street Bets. You guys know they're always trying for the squeeze gimmick. Well, it's a lot of these meme names, right? So if we look at the first one on the list is Lion Electric, very surprising. So this one, I'm not quite sure if the 39% is actually the real number, because they just had the merger and that usually adds a lot of shares to the float. So if you have a Bloomberg terminal, please double check for me and let me know in the comments. But we do know that the company has been heavily shorted. I mean, from $35 down to about 16 to 18, that's been the range lately, right? They've been kind of range bound since March 1st. Look, 16, about 18, they've been kind of stuck in here. So the company has good news coming out, like the 260 buses that were ordered recently by a First Student or First Citizen, whatever the name of the company is. And over time, you know, the company is going to be making progress, both on its factory in Illinois. At some point, hopefully in the second quarter, the production numbers are going to be a lot better than the ones that they reported yesterday. So when you combine all of that and the fact that they haven't been able to make really progress on pushing the price down lower than 16 bucks, even, you know, a couple weeks ago when the market was capitulating, well, you see why they're probably starting to close some of those positions, and that's going to create less selling pressure on these stocks. Keep in mind, look at the volume, right? Only 1.5 million today compared to the average of almost 1.6. So it's not like the volume, like there's a frenzy of buyers getting to this market. It's just that there's not nearly as much selling pressure. And at 1.5 million shares volume per day, as I was talking about earlier, I mean, these hedge funds that have a couple $1 billion can really manipulate the stocks on these smaller companies. Like 1.5 million in volume, the share price is at, well, let's say when it was at 16 bucks, right? So you only need to spend about, what, like $24 million per day if you wanted to sell the entire volume in one day. So keep that in mind, right? If they have a couple $1 billion to play with, they can do this very easily. And that's how you see a price going from $35 down to 16. So that's why these are very heavily manipulated. You can't really see that in companies like Apple that have a $2 trillion market cap. You're not going to see like that kind of volatility. And that's why people always warn against these small stocks with small valuations like these. So keep that in mind. Doesn't mean it's a bad deal. I think the company is going to do well in the future, but you're much more likely to see that kind of manipulation and high volatility on this type of small cap stock. All right, so aside from that, you're going to find a lot of the like companies that are not really doing that well in the market. Right now, the share price is going up because of the short squeeze, but companies like Blink really doing poorly this year, down 23%, but up 7% today. Right? Nikola, yeah, they're starting to make some progress on their infrastructure, but overall, the company is not really that successful quite yet. Supposedly, they're going to start delivering some of their trucks at the end of the year, so we'll see if they can manage to do that, but 36% short floated, right? So very, very high short positions on these stocks. Workhorse, so you guys know the meme stock. How many videos are made about Workhorse on YouTube? Up 9% today, but down 54% for the year. But look, 36% shorted, right? So these are kind of like battleground meme stocks between the hedge funds shorting these and the small retail investors that are trying to do the short squeezes. So personally, I don't find a lot of interest in stocks like these. I don't like the fundamentals of the company. They've been around for, not necessarily Nikola, right, but let's say Workhorse. It has been around for a few years and it's not really producing anything, like nothing meaningful. But that's very different from our next candidate, which is one of our big positions, IPOE Sofi. All right, so up 8% today, 35% for the year, but look at the float. That was, as of April 30th, 31.95%. Now, I asked my friend to send me the information from the Bloomberg terminal. The ratio of like how many days it would take to actually cover, let's see, it has changed from about 12 to about 10. So I'll have to double check the exact percentage, right? But just keep in mind, there was 12 days worth of shares floated, shorted. Now it's down to 10. So that's a little less than 20% covered over the past couple of weeks, right? Since the beginning of May. So that's progress for this company, which had been really attacked by these shorts. But again, if you look at IPOE, you're going to see that they haven't been successful in pushing it down further. The lowest they were able to get to was about, what, like 15. I think it went down to like $13 for a couple minutes, like back in early March. 13, 14, right? But overall, it's been kind of trending sideways for a while. And now that we're getting closer to the merger and, you know, the company's constantly adding new things to the platform, especially the crypto and all of that, what are they going to do with this stock, right? So they can't really push it down much further than that. It's just been beaten up so much. So that's why I've said before, like, most of the pain have been had on these positions. So why would you sell now? The time to sell these stocks was when they were like above $20 or $30 for Lion Electric, not when they're at 12 or 13 bucks, right? So this is one of them that is probably going to go up from here. I have a lot of faith on this one, especially if the short position is starting to drop. I'll keep tracking it, right? I'll ask him to keep sending me the information, but this one has gone from 12 to 10 already. Now, the next one, Archimoto, is interesting. Today, it was actually up more than this. It was up to, sorry, it's reloading. It actually went up a lot more today and kind of lost some of its gain today. But this is another one that had been heavily shorted, and I know some of you are in this one. All right, so this one has 30% short as of April 30th. So a lot of these companies, a lot of the EV SPACs, right, or not necessarily SPACs, but a lot of these EV companies have been shorted and people are betting against it. Right, so yesterday, sorry, I'm kind of going on a tangent here, but you guys know that it was revealed that one of the guys from the Big Short has a 530 million position against Tesla, right? Well, the thing is, it went from $900 to $500. So he already made his money. So now he can actually cover, and he made a ton of profit on it, right? So all the profit from these shorts has been made already on a lot of the electric vehicle companies, the growth stocks and everything. So that's why they are closing them right now. I have no doubt that he is going to be closing his position, especially now that people know that he had it, right? So the next company that I want us to look at, like, we won't cover all of them, but I just want to look at, of course, there's Ride up 20%. We talked about this one already. But the other interesting one for us is, sorry guys, Tattooed Chef. All right, so up 10% today. This one was shorted by 27.85% as of April 30th. And today had a very, very nice move, right? So it actually kept going up during the day rather than like Archimoto, which kind of lost some of its gain. This one is the opposite. It has been going straight up. Of course, there was some good news too, right? So they're adding new SKUs in the Whole Foods. So personally, the zucchini spirals, I've tried them before. I didn't like them that much, so that's not news that are really that exciting for me. I don't know if you guys like this product, right? But it just opens the door for them to sell in more and more and more stores, and of course increase their revenues. Of course, they just had their acquisition of the tortilla factory. That's going to create more revenues in the future. Like, this is a stock they've been trying to push under $16 multiple times, and they were successful for a very, very brief time, right? But again, like, where do you go from here? They can't push it down further than this, so now they're starting to cover. So let me give you the updated numbers for this one. This one has gone from, this one has gone from about 7 ratio to 4.72 right now. So it lost about 1/3 of its shorts already. And so this is a company that has been heavily shorted, but it is dropping pretty rapidly, and they're going to be covering right now. So when you combine the good news, the shorts covering, right, you are going to see a fairly big recovery like this. And if we zoom into the 1 day, we're going to see, unlike Archimoto, look at how it actually went up all day. Right, so that's what's going on in the market right now. I don't know where we go from here. Are they going to go above $20? Are going to go back to like when they were at $25? I don't think so right away, right? It's going to take a little bit longer than that. But this is very, very good news. Like for this stock, I mentioned before that I'm looking for the $22. Right? If they reach above 22, that's extremely bullish for this company. So we'll see what happens. But right now, I am starting to see these short coverings. I mean, we've been talking about it for a couple of months now. You always want to go against the grain. The herd is usually wrong. They've been shorting heavily. Well, now they're covering, and people that sold, well, they are missing out on these big gains that we saw, like 10% today. Remember, that's pretty good, right? Most fund managers, they're lucky if they get 10% per year. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have a Bloomberg terminal, double check these numbers. Let me know in the comments what you see, right? And I'll see you guys in the next video.